Hello everyone. Are you looking for a pro sports franchise game but not trying to shell $60 off to EA Sports aka Madden 20? Let me tell you about this game called Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2020. It was released by Wolverine Studios earlier this year, and they're giving me an opportunity to take a look at the game myself and tell you about this amazing game that this company has put together for us. You are presented with 3 different options from which to choose from when you fire up this bad boy. So first option, of course, you have the career mode where you're the GM of one team, you play against other computer opponents, and you can have options of different levels of control, and you can also be fired depending on your poor performance. It also has a decent amount of customization, like even on this screen, you can change the league format, roster size, overtime format, of course playoff OT format. You can even get rid of preseason games if you want to, as well as other features that you can change up whenever you do career mode. You can also do multiplayer. You can play against your friends, if you want to get like an online league going, see who's the best general manager in, I guess, like your group of friends, kind of like fantasy football, except really on steroids essentially. But then they have this sandbox mode as the third option, which I think I'm gonna dive into more so today, since I'm really a huge fan of customization. And it looks like you can have not only full control of your team, but you can control as many teams as you like. And like I said, as a guy that really loves customization, like look at this. You can change, you can do league name, you can name your league as like whatever you want, so long as it's appropriate, or even if it's not appropriate, like as long as it's an offline league, you'll probably be fine. League format, look at all these league formats that they have. You can go back to the pre-merger with only 22 teams, but if you scroll all the way down, you could have up to 72 teams in a single league, which I think that's what I'm gonna go into whenever just like as example, because we're feeling pretty frisky to be honest. So I'm gonna rock with the 72 teams. And then roster size, you can either do a pre-1980 or a modern. Like I said, change the overtime format, playoff, OT, preseason games. I'm not going to do any preseason games. I'm trying to jump right in. But, it's really cool. You have all of these choices. So, the playability in this game seems pretty high, considering you have all these different options. Like the 72 teams, it just kind of gives it more of a college football like atmosphere. So I mean, if that's your cup of tea, that might be really cool. But I think these are the settings that I'm gonna go with for now, and see how it turns out and see what we're going with. But like I said, you're given all of these creative options, and I think that's really cool that they've taken the time to have a bunch of different options and let the player create their own universes essentially, which I think is extremely cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and click this advance button and see what happens after that. To get out with setting up your league, you drafted your team. This is what the screen is going to look like for you. So here I am, week 1 of 2019, and just gives a lot of stuff that you can do, a lot of things to check out. Starting with the left hand side, you can go around the league, look at stats. You can even go into the archives, check out who won previous awards, what happened in drafts, as well as other historical stats, who led the league, all that kind of stuff. You can take a look at the team menu, look at what your staff is looking like, and not gonna lie, 72 team league, usually I would say this staff is pretty trash, but we'll take what we can get. Take a look at the roster, what the stats are looking like, if we had stats, but we haven't played a game yet. But also have a look at contracts that your team has currently possessed, as well as go into your team management. You got depth charts, training strategy. You can even trade and sign players, as well as get ready for the next draft. Finally, you have team information, and what's really cool here is that you can actually go ahead and change some of this stuff. So I can go to team logo for something. I can pull something that have as a custom logo in my files that I can go ahead and put in the game, and it will be reflected in the actual game itself. Another thing that you can do here in the middle is that in the options, you can go ahead to league format, and you can change the conferences and divisions. You could change them to however you want to, just kind of what is your cup of tea, as well as that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna leave it for now because I can't wait to show you guys the actual gameplay, how the games actually play out from a GM perspective, of course. But before I get into it, you can, on the right hand side, what I think is really cool is that they have actual league news. So I think this is something that they do a better job of than what Madden 20 does. You know, it just gives you a rundown of how they think the season's gonna go down, who they think's gonna win the division, as well as who they think is gonna go pretty far. Game of the week, looks like we have Ochner Sea Dogs at the Santa Clara Keys. We'd love to see how that game would play out. Training camp news, you know, a bunch of stuff, like anything that's relevant to the league, you can see it on your right hand side. But I digress. Let's head up this schedule, see who we're playing this week, and see what we see on screen next. I'll catch you guys out when we are on the field. Schedule, and what's kind of cool about it is that you can filter it based on what are some non-CPU games that go into overtime, as well as the two conferences. We're in conference 1, so gonna head down here and check out this Les Covina Explosion game versus your Fullerton Knight Raiders. Kind of interested to see how this turns out, so I'm gonna go ahead and click sim game and see what happens here. And what's cool is that you can watch the game from screen. You can actually click start here, and Wolverine and West Covina, you kind of get this GM press box view, kind of see what's going on the field. I'm sitting there in the blue, the other team is the white team, of course, and you know, you can kind of see, if you're the coach, you can go ahead and make the suggestions, make play calls, all that good stuff, trying to make sure that the other team obviously loses to us. But looks like as we force the field goal, you know, not a lot of detail in terms of the actual gameplay action, in terms of what's going on the field. But you know, being an indie game company, you can only do so much. Really love what they did with the GM sort of things, but you know, the gameplay is still lacking, which is to be expected. And overall, I really like what they done with this game. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and sim the rest of this game before I go into the home screen real fast. So I'll catch you guys out when this game is finally done and over with. Screen, and looks like my Fullerton Knight Raiders did win 30-13, but you know, it was a huge game for us. We had a 17-point fourth quarter that really propelled us to victory. But yeah, this is Wolverine Studios Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2020 game in a nutshell. You know, I think it's pretty cool, and I can definitely see myself playing this in my free time when I'm not providing awesome content for you guys down the road. Let me know what your thoughts are about this game. Is this something that interests you? Would you support this game to see it continue to grow? Let me know down in the in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this video. Make sure you leave a like, as well as subscribe to the channel, as I would truly appreciate that. It really helps me continue to push to create awesome content for you guys. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care.